Today's video is a deep dive into a major international development that has caught global attention. Italy and Spain are now sending warships to assist an international aid flotilla making its way toward Gaza. The flotilla, known as the Global Simood initiative, is composed of around 50 civilian boats with the goal of breaking through Israel's naval blockade and delivering humanitarian aid directly to Gaza. This mission has gained support from activists, lawyers, and public figures, including Swedish climate campaigner Greta Thunberg, who is aboard one of the ships. The story is not just about humanitarian aid. It has quickly become a complex mix of politics, international law, military presence, and activism. The flotilla recently came under attack while sailing through international waters near Greece. Drones targeted the vessels and dropped stun grenades along with itching powder, creating panic and discomfort among those on board. Fortunately, no injuries were reported, but the incident has added a new level of risk to what was already a dangerous journey. Activists accused Israel of being behind the drone attacks, though the Israeli Foreign Ministry has not directly responded to these accusations. Instead, it has repeated its standing offer. Any humanitarian aid destined for Gaza should be delivered to an Israeli port, where authorities would take responsibility for distributing it onward. Israel has also accused the flotilla activists of having ties to Hamas, framing this as a security rather than purely humanitarian issue. Italy's response was to deploy a frigate on Wednesday, shortly after reports of the drone assault surfaced. The Italian Defense Minister Guido Crosetto admitted that Italy cannot guarantee the safety of its citizens if they are traveling through the territorial waters of other nations. At the same time, he cautioned against breaking the Israeli blockade and urged that the aid be handed over through official channels, even suggesting that the Catholic Church in Gaza could play a role in distributing it. This shows how Italy is trying to balance concern for the activists' safety with diplomatic respect for Israel's security policies. Spain also stepped in quickly. Prime Minister Pedro announced that a Spanish warship would join the mission, specifically to safeguard Spanish nationals and others on board. This decision comes as Spanish lawmaker Juan Berra, who is on one of the flotilla boats, described the terrifying conditions of the past days. He reported hearing 12 explosions during one night, some involving flammable liquid. His testimony highlights the physical danger the activists are facing, which goes far beyond political tension and enters into the territory of real life-threatening attacks. When we analyze the key features of this situation, one of the first points is the sheer size and diversity of the flotilla. 50 civilian vessels represent a wide network of coordination, bringing together not just activists but also legal experts and high-profile personalities like Thunberg. This isn't a small protest effort. It's a massive, organized attempt to challenge Israel's blockade, which has been in place for years as part of its broader security strategy regarding Hamas. The flotilla's performance so far demonstrates determination and resilience, as they have pressed ahead despite repeated attacks in Tunisian waters earlier this month and now again near Greece. Another performance aspect to consider is the role of the naval forces being deployed. The Italian frigate is not just symbolic. A warship brings advanced surveillance, defensive capability, and communication technology. It changes the dynamics of the situation, because civilian vessels are highly vulnerable to air and naval attacks. While a frigate sends a message of deterrence, Spain's warship has a similar design function. Its purpose is rescue and protection, ensuring that the activists can be safeguarded in case of further attacks. While neither Italy nor Spain has announced offensive intentions, their presence underscores that European states are unwilling to leave their citizens unprotected in what could escalate into a military confrontation. Design elements of the flotilla itself are also noteworthy. Unlike military convoys, these are largely ordinary boats, ranging from small to medium-sized civilian craft. This is intentional. The civilian design underlines the humanitarian purpose of the mission, contrasting sharply with Israel's portrayal of the flotilla as complicit with militants. Yet the vulnerability of these vessels is exactly what makes them risky targets. Drones dropping grenades and chemicals on unarmed boats amplify the imbalance between state-level military power and grassroots humanitarian activism. Unique selling points of this story include the blend of activism and geopolitics. On one hand, you have well-known international figures like Greta Thunberg lending moral weight to the cause. On the other hand, you have state actors like Italy and Spain stepping in with military resources to ensure basic safety. That combination of grassroots and governmental involvement makes the situation stand out. It's not just activists taking risks on their own. Their governments are now actively involved, which raises the stakes. Another unique element is the legal and diplomatic gray area. International waters are supposed to be neutral, yet the flotilla is reporting drone attacks there. If these accusations are proven, it raises serious questions about the legality of such actions and could strain Israel's relationships not just with activists but with European governments. At the same time, The insistence by Israel that aid should only be delivered through its ports reflects its strategic concern about Hamas using humanitarian shipments for other purposes. This back and forth highlights the tension between humanitarian principles and state security imperatives. The situation is further complicated by differing narratives. Activists portray themselves as peaceful humanitarians, risking their lives to deliver urgent aid. Israel portrays them as politically motivated and potentially aligned with its enemies. Italy and Spain, meanwhile, are trying to walk the line between protecting their citizens and not directly escalating conflict with Israel. These layered perspectives are what make this unfolding event both highly technical in its logistics and deeply human in its stakes. What also stands out is the repeated targeting of the flotilla, not just in Greek waters but earlier in Tunisian waters as well. The fact that these incidents have occurred more than once suggests a consistent attempt to intimidate or halt the mission. Yet each time, the flotilla continues onward, reinforcing its identity as a determined humanitarian movement, regardless of the risks. The global attention this mission is receiving also plays into its broader purpose. It's not just about delivering aid, it's about drawing the world's eyes to Gaza's humanitarian crisis. By involving prominent figures, securing naval protection from European powers, and continuing despite threats, the flotilla is designed to keep the issue at the forefront of international discourse. This makes the mission as much about visibility and awareness as about the actual supplies on board. This blend of grassroots resilience, military presence, humanitarian urgency, and geopolitical complexity creates a narrative that is hard to ignore and even harder to resolve peacefully.